After the funeral, my son brought his girlfriend and mother home. The moment they walked in, he cursed. Those two finally died after taking so many doses. I realized they had swapped babies and killed my biological child. My soul was reborn to the day of my section. After my funeral, Ricky brought Leslie and my mother, Celeste Caldwell, back to my house. The moment they stepped through the door, Ricky's expression changed. He impatiently threw his hat to the floor. Those two just wouldn't die, huh? Took so many doses and they finally kicked the bucket. If they knew the reason they died was because they insisted I study medicine, they'd probably regret it to death. I wondered, is Ricky talking about Derek and me? Could it be that our deaths weren't natural? Was it Ricky's doing? But how is that possible? Derek and I are his parents. We worked tirelessly for him all these years, leaving him a large inheritance even after our deaths. Before I could make sense of it, Leslie, with tears in her eyes, hugged Ricky. Yes, all these years, it's been hard on you. Ricky held her tightly. Mom, you are the one who suffered all these years. I didn't. I only hated that those two were still alive, keeping us from acknowledging each other. My mother grinned so widely that her face almost couldn't contain it. Listening to their conversation, I finally understood everything back. Then Leslie and I had discovered our pregnancies around the same time. However, during her pregnancy, my younger brother Malcolm Caldwell died in an accident. After careful consideration, Leslie decided to keep her child. Malcolm and I had always been close to ensure Leslie had nothing to worry about. I took great care of her from prenatal checkups, the C-section, pregnancy, nutrition, and postpartum recovery to baby clothes. Everything was paid for by me. It was precisely because of this money that Leslie developed sinister thoughts. She envied that my son was born into wealth and couldn't bear the thought of her own child growing up fatherless and in poverty. That was when the idea of swapping our babies came to her. When my mom learned about the plan, not only did she refuse to stop it, but she even helped orchestrate it. In her eyes, my brother's child was the rightful heir to our family, while mine was just an outsider. After the swap, they feared the truth would come to light. To ensure their child received all the love, they decided to kill my baby. This way, they could seamlessly step into my home and raise the child as their own. Only now did I realize the baby who died more than 20 years ago was my son, and for all these years I had been raising someone else's child, a heartless ingrate, a murderer. My soul trembled with fury watching the three of them bask in their happiness. I plunged into darkness. I didn't know how much time had passed before I opened my eyes again. Leslie's voice was chattering away beside my ear. Angeline, I really can't thank you enough. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even dare to imagine having a C-section and recovering in such a good hospital. If Malcolm were still alive, he would definitely be so relieved. But as she spoke, hints of jealousy seeped into her tone. You are so lucky to have married someone like Derek. Hearing those words, I realized instantly I had been reborn, and I had returned to the day of my section. Everything was still within my grasp. Derek sat beside my hospital bed, encouraging me with a warm smile. Though my heart was ablaze with hatred, I quickly calmed myself. After all, nothing had happened yet.